I'd like to shift gears and now move on to sharing our work. This is the work that Esri does on your behalf. It's all about, for us, building useful tools and technology that helps you be successful. And we do that around this technology known as ArcGIS. ArcGIS is a single system. It's an integrated product vision that supports multiple communities. The GIS community, of course, but also the rapidly emerging mapping and location service community and location analytics. And also now expanding into integrating and supporting developers and big systems of all types. Finally, our work has been focused on leveraging ArcGIS to build what we call Geo-Enabled Systems, which are standalone systems that support specific workflows. And we do this, of course, with software. That's been our heritage. And then later, SaaS. And then this year, with a new idea of providing platform as a service that is basically consumption-based services to the developer and large IT company and enterprise organizations. ArcGIS, as many of you know, is 3 separate systems in one: a system of record keeping, a system of analytics, and a system of engagement through maps and apps. And increasingly, this system has become real-time, integrating imagery and IoT information into the core. This system is implemented in a variety of patterns. Many of you are desktop users. Actually, we have millions of desktop users, and it's our biggest pattern. But the second pattern is enterprise systems. These are big servers that share information across the web or across networks to a whole plethora of different user types. The third pattern, which I've been spending a lot of time on speaking this morning, is this idea of a cloud-based geospatial infrastructure, which allows you to host information on servers and integrate it with SaaS and PaaS information. And finally, the last one, which is emerging really rapidly, is the idea of embedding these kinds of geographic knowledge infrastructure fed information into embedded apps for massive numbers of people to use. Esri's cloud strategy, many of you have asked about it, is about supporting 3 independent but also integrated offerings. Software in the cloud. For example, our software is increasingly based on Kubernetes, and you can release it in the cloud. This is really a whole new operating system that allows it to be cloud native. A second offering is SaaS. That's really what ArcGIS Online is all about. And later this morning, I'll talk about PaaS. This is really platform or consumption-based services. I would like to especially call out this move to Kubernetes. This is not for everyone, but for people who wish to leverage microservices and really make their systems scale at very large size and leverage some of the new native storage capabilities of clouds and do distributed computing. Kubernetes is a platform for doing it. And this will open up and make available ArcGIS for deployment on virtually any cloud. I'll come back to that in just a minute. ArcGIS is integrating many new innovations in data measurement, new computing innovations like Kubernetes, but others like mobile distributed computing, ultra-high bandwidth like 5G. All of these things are being built into our system. And finally, the system is leveraging advances that we're making and others are making in science, opening up the platform so that it integrates open science technology of many types. I have shown a similar slide to this for many years. It's really making the point that ArcGIS is an open platform. And we achieve that openness through supporting aggressively, vigorously supporting open standards, but also providing an open architecture that is extendable. Having open science integrated in, and some of our components are open sourced with a rich library of ability to evolve and work with us in that manner. This year, we've continued to make advances in new APIs and provide progressive technology for supporting the whole world of open data. Our fundamental capabilities, and by the way, a few hundred meters from where I'm standing, there's a large building complex of developers who are continuously advancing the fundamental capabilities of our software. These several thousand developers are advancing work in image processing and remote sensing and real-time mapping and mapping itself in data management. And I'm going to cover a few of those, giving you just a few highlights of what the work is that's going on, because it affects you. And of course, during the course of this conference, we normally have lots of feedback, and we'll be doing that digitally. Not at the convention center this year, but in various ways. ArcGIS has, by design, inside of ArcGIS Online, included massive amounts of ready-to-use content. A lot of this content is your content, but it's been organized and put into forms as services. Thousands of layers of ready-to-use living atlas data. And then millions of data have been sets and maps and services and apps have been shared by you. So there's kind of this collaborative environment so that people that are hunting for data to use in their applications can just have quick access to it. This is global data as well as national information. And we keep making more improvements on it. In the innovation area, we keep progressively moving ahead with something we call smart mapping for web mapping. These allows mere mortals like me to make beautiful maps even though they don't have a cartographic experience by using machine learning tools that really encapsulate making beautiful maps for everybody. And these are implemented in our map viewer and also in the JavaScript API tools. In more traditional mapping, for example, desktop mapping, we continue to make some new improvements here. And some of you will be interested in specifically the work that we're doing there in adding new symbologies and being able to deal with new modern templates and being able to handle special cases like generalization or special graphics. And then also making advances in map and chart production with automated tools. Story maps have been, I guess you might say, a huge hit or very popular. There are actually now over 1 million of these that have been published and tens of millions of views on these every day. They tell the stories of the world. They're easy to build and easy to publish, and they tell stories. Last year, we introduced a new storyteller role called, the storyteller role. And it is designed to be able to allow your colleagues in other parts of the organization who don't know GIS so well to be able to tell stories and use this amazing set of tools. I mentioned earlier that we have worked closely with a number of the large technology providers to provide embedding of our mapping tools, like into Microsoft's Office and Microsoft SharePoint tools and Power BI. This year, we're releasing a new capability to have our web maps inside of Teams to support the idea of knowledge workers doing collaboration around mapping. Also, the embedding of maps in Adobe and into Autodesk's interesting and significant products for engineering have really opened the way for us to provide geographic context for other tools. Our dashboards have been amazingly successful. In a few minutes or a few hours, being able to set up and give synoptic views, providing situation awareness of all kinds of information. And these dashboards, of course, can be embedded inside of story maps. So I can share a story map and provide real-time information on what's going on. Location analytics, specifically in the form of the product ArcGIS Insights, have opened up some of the capabilities of ArcGIS to sort of an intuitive, visual way to interact and do spatial analysis for business kinds of applications. That people can bring in just about any kind of data. They can visualize it. They can make cool maps. They can do exploratory spatial analysis and then generate reports and make them available. For those who wish to do more sophisticated spatial analysis, there are several thousand tools in ArcGIS. And in the last year, we've added a few hundred new ones in data engineering and advanced visualization and exploration. Some new spatial analysis tools, one of which is my favorite, which is a new, very simple way to do suitability mapping, bringing multiple layers together and map it. But lots of advances in machine learning and AI, and also being able to access and manipulate big data in the clouds. And this is just the beginning of an adventure, ladies and gentlemen. As we get bigger data sets, more and more of this will be done. Finally, in being able to do modeling and scripting using things like notebooks, more advances there. Jupyter notebooks are a big jump for us. They really were first introduced with ArcGIS Enterprise, but then we moved them last year to both Pro and also to ArcGIS Online. What this means is I can organize and automate certain kinds of processes and do modeling within the notebook frame. And it opens up the world of Python libraries as well as other open source libraries to bring right into my GIS technology. Speaking about AI and machine learning and deep learning, we have made some major progress here for allowing our users to have access to the open source and data science ecosystem through things like notebooks and also through integration with Python and R. And that's not just one, it's from Pro, it's from Enterprise, it's from Online. So I can literally take advantage of and bring in this huge and very rapidly and aggressively growing technology world into geoprocessing. Our goal here is really to make it easy for GIS users to be able to take advantage of all of this amazing automation and making GIS smarter capability. Look, in the last few years, we've also made major advances in bringing imagery and remote sensing right into the frame of GIS. Today, we would characterize ArcGIS as a comprehensive system supporting imagery data management, now going to the cloud, also mapping and data production, bringing in powerful tools like drone mapping and so on, being able to do some of the most sophisticated analytics, and also doing visualization and exploitation. This is really capturing information off of the imagery and putting it into vector databases or thematic data sets. This is a powerful platform that this year we're moving major pieces of to the cloud. It'll become an extension of ArcGIS Online, so I can upload my imagery and process it there. I'll show you a demo of this in a few minutes. To bring this capability together, last year we introduced a new technology called ArcGIS Caliber. And this allows a user to search through the large libraries of imagery, organize a project, like pulling the data sets together, and then do exploitation and analytics on this information. That is, drawing features on imagery, pulling knowledge from the imagery, and then being able to share it and disseminate it as web maps and story maps, etc. This is exciting because it's dynamic and it's connected and it's real-time imagery, near real-time coming in, and it's all powered by this idea of a server technology in the form of ArcGIS Enterprise. Drone mapping has been an interest for me personally, but also for our organization. Some years ago, we introduced a technology known as Drone to Map. This is for desktop users. They can fly their drone, load it down, bring the data down into their desktop, and then process it to make some interesting maps and do specialized kinds of analysis. This last year, we acquired a company that introduced us to taking the same kind of capabilities and doing it in the cloud. This is a technology known as site scan. So now I can fly my drone and send the content that it's captured over to the cloud, and it does the same kind of capabilities that Drone to Map does, except some new things as well. This is kind of sometimes I use the desktop version, sometimes I use the cloud version. When I put it in the cloud, then I can have access to it, of course, with the new emerging capabilities of imagery in the cloud, in our online, and so on. Anyway, these are exciting and progressive activities. I'm very pleased to announce a brand new capability for most of you, which is automated reality capture. This is done through a technology known as SURE, or now called SURE for ArcGIS. This takes imagery data, point cloud data, and of course the orientation data, and it processes it automatically at scale. Here we're talking like a whole city or massive amounts of imagery data, and creates outputs like true orthophotos or textured meshes, point clouds at scale, and digital surface models, all automatically. Those are all directly then usable inside of the rest of the ArcGIS system. This will transform mapping agencies and those who do mapping in a major way, automating, making fast, massively scalable products that can be used directly. I'd like to move now on to looking at 3D GIS. Here we again have made a number of improvements and advances. First, in the 3D information model. And I have talked about this at some length with the idea of point clouds or 3D meshes being able to be stored at scale inside of ArcGIS. But last year we introduced a new model called voxels. This is really looking up into the sky and into the oceans and into the ground and being able to model and analyze voxel data. We've also integrated some of the smart mapping capabilities into 3D, so I can have the machine help me suggest the best cartographic representation in 3D. And then we've introduced some new symbology and visual effects. And in the lower right, I want you to look at these two capabilities, looking at augmented reality and virtual reality. Some of that's been going on for some time, like looking under the ground at the vector data and pipes. But the top is something probably new for most of you, which is the wrapping or the embedding of our APIs into game engines. This means the beautiful viz, sim, or visualization and simulation capabilities of game engines will be able to access your geographic data. This is going to be a lot of fun. Of course, some people will just make games, but others will use this as ways to present their information to a whole new audience and even improve how we do it visually ourselves. In addition to visualization, GIS has been advancing in 3D analytics using simple geometric analytics like viewshed and so forth, but increasingly accurate and at scale. And then volumetric analytics, this gets back to this voxel idea, being able to look into the oceans or look into the atmosphere and do change analysis or just exploration of these volumes in new ways. The way that we've done 3D GIS is not just with one app. It's actually 3D GIS for visualization and analytics across all of our systems in mobile and devices, in ArcGIS Earth, which is a specialized app for 3D visualization, in City Engine, in Pro, in the Scene Viewer, and in the Experience Builder, whose job it is to build unique and custom applications. In other words, it's pervasive. Similar in concept to 3D is what we might call 4D, real-time visualization analytics. And here we've been working for a number of years on technology called the GeoEvent Server that takes real-time data, IoT data, and makes it available right within the frame of ArcGIS. And there are thousands of users who use this technology with server-based work. But last year we introduced a new ArcGIS Online extension called Velocity. And what this does is it allows you to connect your real-time IoT data, let's say buses moving around or water flowing, to a cloud environment, specifically the Azure cloud. And the data is read into this environment and then in that pipeline analyzed and visualized and supports the idea of big data analytics and support for all of our other tools. For some of you, data management and editing of data is foundational to the systems that you build. And here we're making advancements in being able to support leading systems and platforms in the cloud and also on-prem. We're improving the geodatabase and also improving editing tools both in 2D and in 3D environments. Closely associated with data management is field operations, especially the data collected in the field. And here we have a number of data collection and capture, inspection and survey tools like Survey 123 and Collector, which are pervasively used. But these are part of a system that allows you to plan and manage your work, and then a dashboard that shows progress of field workers as they're doing the work. And then there are aids like navigation aids, and in the field visualization aids like the map exploration capabilities of Explorer. And then more recently, location tracking, the ability to know where the workers are in times of emergency. This is really critical. Okay, the last thing I want to mention here is in the last year we released field maps. This brings together capabilities of collector and tracking and exploration all together in one app. This is something that you've asked us to do and will empower a more simplified experience in the field. I'd like to now again shift gears and talk about ArcGIS products. And here you'll notice right away ArcGIS 21 products. This is a new nomenclature that we're embracing, like some of our colleagues in other IT organizations, rather than this version and that version of this pro and that. No, we're going to have one name, the ArcGIS 2021 fleet of products. And actually the way our products work is that it's licensed in individual components, but it is one comprehensive and integrated system, with Pro for the desktop, with Enterprise for server capabilities, with Online for SaaS. And this last year we've introduced a new pass capability for opening up the platform that underpins all of the other tools for developers. We think that this will create a surge in the ability to create apps and solutions that live on top of all of the rest of the products. I'm going to start by explaining what we've been doing with Pro. Pro is a professional GIS technology for advanced mapping and visualization. It's used by most of you here in the audience. It's used for editing and analytics and data management. Well, we've made lots of improvements here. Just for the record, we have now accomplished this feat of replicating virtually everything that is done in ArcMap, and then much, much more, including a whole services-oriented capability. And we keep this march of advancing capabilities here for authoring, analyzing, and using spatial information. Lots of new things coming. Pro is extended with a number of focused capabilities. These are in the world of analytics, and also in the world of data management, and also in the area of out-of-the-box production, mapping, and charting. The second big leg of the stool is ArcGIS Enterprise. And while ArcGIS Desktop has millions of users, ArcGIS Enterprise also has maybe hundreds of millions. We don't actually know, but we certainly know that there are hundreds of thousands of deployments of the server. And this is rich because it brings it all together as a server platform, being able to do data management and mapping and content discovery. The portal is supported from here. Being able to do spatial analytics on the server side and sharing and collaboration. And then, of course, the strong administrative DevOps foundation. Here, we have a number of extensions as well in the form of image server and notebook server, GeoEvent Server, and so on. One that I'll call your attention to is the ArcGIS Monitor, which for the people in charge of running the DevOps, this is a kind of a miracle technology. Helps them understand and monitor what's going on. And then there's lots of new capabilities that have been added in the last year. But this spring, in a few months, we will release ArcGIS Enterprise on Kubernetes. I've already spoken quite a bit about this, but it's not only allowing us to deploy on Kubernetes in a way similar to the way you deploy on Windows or on Linux, but also it will introduce more standards-based, IT standard-based integration capabilities. It'll mean easier maintenance, easier upgrades, easier dynamic scalability capabilities. So for some of you, not all of you, this might be a major solution in your future. ArcGIS Online is the third leg of this technology, and it's the world's largest mapping and data sharing ecosystem in the geospatial world. It actually has now over 10 million users who use it just thousands of times, hundreds of thousands of times every day. It now contains over 39 million data sets and items and apps that have been shared by our users. So it's absolutely a sharing services platform, and trillions of maps are being made from it every year. This last year, it's grown enormously in usage, over 400%, and lots of new things coming here. ArcGIS Online has extensions as well, just like the other two products. One of them is Hub, the ability to do citizen engagement and other kinds of engagement activities. This year, we're releasing Velocity, the technology Suzanne just showed, as an extension of Online for all of our users. And also, I'm very pleased to announce that we'll be implementing something called Image, which is an extension that allows our users to be able to host imagery in the cloud and be able to use it in analytics and visualization, and also do some interesting spatial analytics with it. The other extension that I'll mention is ArcGIS Hub. This is also becoming extremely popular, not only in state and local governments, but across the federal government. This allows you to stand up a site that allows open data to be able to be shared frictionlessly. With many of you, this is an important initiative. It also allows you to support special initiatives that engage citizens or engage each other. It allows you to organize communities. It allows you to provide a license for community users so that citizens can actually become engaged with your work. This, I think, is dramatically improving extending the reach and the ability to communicate with the public participating in your GIS operations. Quietly in the background, ArcGIS Solutions also are playing a major role in our users' success. These are literally hundreds of industry-specific maps and apps that are made available freely so that you can configure, they're pre-configured tools and models and data models and add-ins that extend the fundamental capabilities of ArcGIS. And they're organized into these various domains. I invite all of you to look at these because they are free. They're supported just like the rest of our technology, but they help you very quickly deliver value. This last year, we saw it happen with the COVID templates of maps and analytic capabilities. They just went viral around the world. For those of you who wish to build your own apps, Esri supports a series of app builders. These enable everyone to quickly build apps using widgets. The web app builder has been the most popular of these app builders, and there are over 1 million apps that have been built and deployed around the world. We have been systematically building a new generation of the web app builder. We call it the Experience Builder. And this is new technology. It allows us to focus on mobile optimized apps and also take advantage of the powerful new 2D and 3D capabilities that are being brought into the system. Now, for some of you, you wish to develop and deploy native apps, that is cross-platform native apps. And we have a powerful technology called App Studio to do so. Now, heretofore, the business models of how we license this were sort of set up friction for normal users to do it. But that has been taken away. So I wish you to examine very carefully this capability if you wish to have pervasive device apps that you can connect people around the community with. For those of our community who wish to build even more serious and sophisticated apps, we have something called ArcGIS Developer, which provides extensive capabilities for building various kinds of applications, customizing our platform and extending it in various ways. These include various APIs and SDKs, and they fall into 5 big categories. The most important one that you could look at is the Python API for developing scripting, and this is the world within which Jupyter Notebooks lives. The second one is extensions to Pro with Pro add-ons using the Pro SDK. And the third is the technology I was just referring to, runtimes that allow you to build mobile and native apps and deploy them extensively. We are working on the capability to leverage these runtimes with game engines. That'll be happening later this year, and for some of you, it'll be very exciting. The fourth one, and perhaps the most extensively deployed, is the JavaScript APIs, which are pieces of code that live inside of a browser that talk to the powerful REST APIs in our server and online capability. Finally, this year, we have released a series of new open source APIs that talk to our powerful REST API in the server environment. These are APIs that support open layers, leaflets, and more. And they allow very quickly people to embed this capability right into their third-party clients. All 5 of these dimensions bring powerful spatial capabilities into virtually every domain, every kind of developer. The JavaScript API, which I mentioned is one of the most popular, has literally dozens and dozens of powerful, high-performance web app capabilities that you can very quickly configure and customize inside of your environment. And you can use things like the Web App Builder or the new Experience Builder to be able to build the apps that are fed by this. This new capability for open source supported developer tools is back-ended by a new technology for platform as a service. We refer to it as the ArcGIS Platform. Actually, the ArcGIS Platform underpins all of our other technologies like Pro, like our enterprise server, and like ArcGIS Online. We've just never exposed it through open APIs in the past. So we are offering new ways to access our platform as PaaS. And that means capacity or consumption-based usage rather than subscription-based usage. It's a distinction. So these capabilities of mapping, geocoding, routing, access to all of the rich data layers of the living atlas and so on, as well as a whole plethora of spatial analysis tools are being made available to developers and also for embedding in large enterprise system deployments. I'd like to finalize this discussion with a few comments about Esri's Geo-Enabled Systems. This is not core GIS or even applications of core GIS. They are standalone, focused workflow systems which access the content of geographic information systems, but they are standalone or are synergistic with our other technologies, and they fall into 5 big families. The GeoPlanner is for landscape planning. There's one for urban, there's one for business analysis, there's one for indoor navigation and mapping. And finally, there's a new one for mission-focused applications called Mission. I pulled out a couple of these for more detailed explanation. Given the challenges of massive landscape planning requirements, this capability is a data-driven design capability. My original field, landscape planning, so I could sketch out alternative designs and then quickly visualize them and analyze their impacts, one versus the other, and then share them with the masses. This is not for everyone, but it certainly responds to those who wish to do conservation and natural resource planning. A second one is indoors. It's sort of the opposite end of the scale. It's all about modeling buildings and being able to have a fleet of applications for doing space management and visualization and facility management and supporting a way to experience the building digitally from devices like navigate through, find the right room, or find the right building on campus. A third one is mission, and as I mentioned, this is a brand new one. It's for planning a mission like a fire or an emergency response to some event, execute and manage that from a management perspective, and then from a field perspective, understand what's going on, supporting peer-to-peer communication among the various responders in the field, and then after an event, be able to analyze and do forensics of the event and understand what went wrong or what went right. This is tying together a lot of little pieces of emergency management response, and it's now organized in a kind of tactical situation awareness and collaboration technology. Well, where are we going next? I've shared with you what we did last year and some of the research agenda that's going on in 2021. This is a list of capabilities, and by the way, these are the ones that we have planned based on interacting with you in the past, but if there are other ones that you feel like we should focus on, please use this occasion, but also later to be able to tell us the areas of innovation that you'd like to have us work on. It's a lot of work, but we have several thousand people in our development departments working on it, working really on behalf of you, advancing the methods, advancing the tools, but also looking after quality and performance capabilities.